How did Courage Through Cancer start? That question's been asked me probably 1,000 times, and it really all boils down to the story of Harry and Gerry. The day began on December 9th, 2014. Harrison had just had surgery, having some growth removed from his shoulder, which, unbeknownst to us, we didn't think anything of it. We just thought it was a simple little cosmetic procedure. Well, there ended up being a growth inside of his arm that the doctor said, it's probably nothing to worry about. Don't worry. We'll call you in a few days. Doesn't look like anything. Well, unfortunately, my wife calls me and tells me, not good, cancer, St. Jude, another surgery. She talked for about 10 minutes, but I really don't remember anything she said other than those words. Because whenever you hear the word cancer in your child, it just paralyzes you. You don't really know what to do at that point. So that afternoon, one of my closest friends, just told me, listen, I've talked to all these oncologists out in California, and he said, bottom line, they all said if they could wish a cancer on their child, this would be the one. Well, unfortunately, they weren't wishing their children, it was mine. And unfortunately, when you hear only 2 out of 100 have been affected by this particular type of cancer, and I'm sorry, I can't even pronounce it, it's so rare. You're always afraid that your child is going to be child number 3 until you know. So on January 15th, I walked into St. Jude Children's Research Hospital for the first time as a parent. Not as a patron, not as a benefactor, but an actual parent of a child. Before I walked in those doors, I was a guy that was only concerned about his friends, family, and making money. I didn't really care much about anything else. I went to church and tithed, that's about it. But I was really kind of focused on me and not everybody else. That guy is still somewhere lingering in the halls of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital because he never came out. Because when you look at the 1,000-yard stares of parents looking for their miracles, but you know that your child's getting to walk away free, you feel a sense of guilt almost. It's kind of uncanny, it's unnerving, you don't really know how to handle it. But I was still glad that we were getting to walk out with my child. And so we left that day. And 15 minutes into my ride, I get a phone call from my good friend Gerry Finney, who I've been friends with now 30 years. At that moment, Gerry told me, John, I've been meaning to tell you this, but I wanted to make sure Harrison was fine first before I told you. My cancer's back, stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. I've got a ton of tumors in my body, a high number. I've been given a 25% chance to live. And then I watched Gerry Finney in action. For 3 months, Gerry went every 3 weeks to get chemo, put into his body every day at the West Cancer Center. And every day he had a number of supporters surrounding him, and he was good. But when I would go visit him and we would talk and I'd bring him lunch and we'd kind of see how he's feeling, he was talking about all the people. He would get up and go talk to all the other people sitting around the room. He would go up to people that weren't with a group of supporters with him. He would make them feel better about themselves. He would lift their spirits up. Because if you know Gerry Finney, that's Gerry Finney business right there. That's all he does. He just lifts your spirits when you're around him. And he took cancer in that same fashion and made that happen. That's probably one of the things I'm most proud about knowing him for, is even at his darkest hour, he was still thinking of others. And he was not only doing that, he was working out, lifting weights, playing tennis with a chemo drip pack attached to his side. I mean, stuff that you've heard of nobody doing while going through cancer. But he did it. And that's our Gerry Finney. And for months, everything was getting better. Everything was going fine. He wanted to do a stem cell transplant just to make sure that everything was gone. And so we went and see him one day when he had just gotten in there, and it was one of the early stages, and he was fine. And I talked about, Gerry, I want to have a benefit for you to tell your story about what I've been watching over these last few months. And he went, no. He goes, man, if we're going to do this, we got to do this about the people that inspired me. Because one of those days when he and I were going to a Memphis basketball game after his first week of treatment, that was the same day that Zeke Logan died. And he told me all about Zeke Logan that afternoon. And then he told me about our good friend Patrick Crump, what he meant to him. And about this little girl named Jade Gordon, who I'd never heard of, but now is as big a part of my life as anybody. And then he mentioned this unbelievable woman named Dana Burkett. And at that moment, I saw Gerry giving selflessly of himself toward others. That he was already not sure if he was going to get through the stem cell transplant. He was already projecting out. He wanted to help others. And the last time I talked to him that week was on a Thursday, and 3 days later I had not heard from him. He wasn't answering his texts, he wasn't doing anything. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting at home and I got a text message from him with he and Lucy in the kitchen. And he had gotten out of the stem cell transplant and he was gonna be fine. And from that moment on, Courage Through Cancer just blew up. Not only did Gerry show us courage through his bout, but Gerry knew how to inspire people. Even the people sitting around him getting the same treatments he was. He only knew how to inspire others. And now since then, we've done almost 40 videos and recognized over 34 families since 2015. All because Harrison walked us through a door at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And Gerry showed us how to walk through the other side like a champion. The most courageous champion I've ever witnessed. Courage Through Cancer exists because of the story of Harry and Gerry. The lives that have been opened up to us through these two people's journey has made Courage Through Cancer what it is today. What do you think about it, guys?